What's up, guys? Kevin Cage here with another crypto update. Let's dive into some XRP today.
Tell me about the speakers that we had.
Yeah, we had Jorn Lambert. He's the Chief Digital Officer at MasterCard. He was a keynote speaker of ours who talked about how his take on crypto is essentially it could be as transformative of a technology as the internet has been. We had some pretty major announcements leading up to Swell this week, especially regarding our payments product, on-demand liquidity. We launched in 19 countries around the world, and we also announced a partnership with MFS to bring ODL to Africa, and that would be the 6th continent it's in, so that's pretty amazing. We also launched a policy paper on Tuesday, which essentially talked about regulatory frameworks and how the UK is set on the path to becoming a global crypto hub.
We are seeing enormous amounts of demand from our financial institutions, traditional players who say, how do I get in there and provide solutions that my consumers are asking for?
Crypto means business. Together with regulatory clarity, we'll make sure that transparency and trust are the bedrock of what crypto is built on.
I'm a big proponent that we should be regulating activity, but not technology. We end up all tied up in thinking about crypto. We ignore some of the real benefits that can bring on a B2B level through moving value around the world.
Most of us here are all trailblazers to these technologies. We came onto the Ripple net first and then found a case with the ODL and then moved to the next level.
It's absolutely huge. We can scale up, scale down. We know when our peaks are and we can give the Ripple team a heads up. It's just an incredible, liberating process. We want to grow. There's no roadblocks to that.
A lot of banks are saying we are tech companies giving financial solutions. It's not the fiat world and the crypto world. It's all embedded.
One of the things that we find very important about blockchain, and specifically XRP, is this ability to have individuation for these carbon credits as they come through. That's super important to developing the carbon market.
I truly think that CBDCs will be an enabler of innovation. There's literally, endless potential use cases.
Your courage to build with us is helping create a game-changing infrastructure that really better the world.
Okay guys, hope everybody's doing well today, and let's kick it off. So just in from Watcher Guru, we have Bank for International Settlements, the BIS, the central bank of all central banks, having a new policy allowing banks to hold 2% of reserves in cryptocurrency. And we can see this month the BIS released its prudential treatment of crypto asset exposure, unveiling a new policy that allows banks to hold 2% of their reserves in cryptocurrency. The policy will go into effect on the 1st of January 2025 and outlines various facets of how crypto assets are to be categorized and treated. So this is the central bank of all central banks basically acknowledging crypto assets as a valid asset class, although it's super young, it's nascent, it's immature. So here's the official paper that was published this month in December. And remember back in 2017, the CEO, what was his name, Gottfried, he was basically saying that crypto assets were a joke. There's no future, there's no interoperability with these technologies. And now we have this year, 2022, by Swift right on their website, digital assets, the next frontier of finance. And of course, primarily talking about central bank digital currencies and stablecoins, but also highlighting permissionless digital assets, including cryptocurrencies and NFTs. And we can see defining digital assets as virtual records of value directly held on and transferred across a shared cryptographically secure ledger. Discussing permissioned digital assets and then permissionless systems which are open rather than just being private and locked down in a closed walled garden. We need interoperability, we need to break down the barriers so that all these ecosystems and asset classes, whether it's different types of fiat currency, whether it's digital tokens, stablecoins, or even CBDCs, or tokenized securities, tokenized commodities, and tokenized derivatives in the future. And right here from the CIO at Swift. Many financial institutions, central banks, market infrastructures, and others, including Swift, are experimenting with digital assets, particularly CBDCs and tokenized assets. The aim is to uncover new opportunities to increase efficiency, reduce costs, cut out these middlemen, encourage financial inclusion, and continue to bring more value to our communities. And remember this document published by Swift back in October, we can see connecting digital islands, tokenized assets, interlinking multiple tokenization platforms to achieve global interoperability. And right here, relative to cryptocurrencies and stablecoins, the current market capitalization of tokenized assets is small, but momentum is expected to accelerate rapidly in the coming years. By some estimates, volumes of tokenized assets could reach $24 trillion by 2027. and this is leading many securities market participants. Now we can see, according to the BIS over-the-counter derivatives statistics at the end of last year, the notional amounts of OTC derivatives right here, $600 trillion. Now there's different types of derivatives, so we gave that estimate of 600 trillion, and keep in mind that derivatives are highly intangible. There have been estimates even years ago to the high end of that spectrum, measured to be as high as 1.2 quadrillion with a Q, and I know that sounds made up. And derivatives are financial contracts set between two or more parties that derive their value from an underlying asset, group of assets, or benchmark. So a derivative derives its value from an underlying asset. And types of derivatives could include futures. So futures contracts for commodities such as oil, wheat, corn. You also have forward contracts or forwards. And notice today that forward contracts carry a greater degree of counterparty risk for both parties. And these contracts only trade over the counter. This is not tokenized. There's counterparty risk, and it's not incredibly secure and transparent by any means. A DLT tokenized platform for derivative products like forwards and futures would be. We can also include swaps and even options. So bottom line, we can talk about securities, stocks of companies, we can talk about real estate, residential and commercial, we can talk about derivatives, and we can talk about commodities. There are so many different types of asset classes that have yet to be tokenized. They've been trading for decades, if not longer. The market infrastructure, the exchanges, the platforms, the regulation was all made before the internet was even created. So many things will be updated, and I think it's super clear that in the future, I don't know when, this will be tokenized, this will be digital, and have the benefits of DLT. Okay, next up, we have Thallo lands a $2.5 million next-generation carbon credit exchange powered by blockchain. And we can see that the seed round investors included the company Ripple. First of its kind marketplace using Web3 tech to solve major pain points affecting the contemporary voluntary carbon market, which is important as companies work to achieve their sustainability goals. Through a two-way bridge, companies and individuals can move credits on and off the blockchain, allowing for easy buying, selling, retiring off credits with full transparency and traceability. Thallo is one of the few blockchain expert participants invited to participate in Gold Standard's Digital Assets Working Group and the American Carbon Registry's private consultation process. And we can see that Thallo is a member of the Carbon Business Council, and we can see it's convened by the World Economic Forum. And I like this screenshot that Andrew shared here, and we have Joel Katzer, David Schwartz, CTO of Ripple right here. And this is years ago. If Swift wants to fix payments for us, that's great. It's one less thing we have to do. And remember that RippleNet came out with Xcurrent, and then shortly after, Swift created Swift GPI. To be clear, that does not replace XRP's use case with ODL whatsoever. If Swift wants to fix payments and improve some of their infrastructure, if they want to fix some of the messaging, that's fine. They still need settlement solutions. And just like Crypto Brad says, messaging, not settlement. Now we can see that EWT Energy Web Token officially joins the Hyperledger Foundation to accelerate Web3 interoperability. And we actually highlighted Energy Web on the Hyperledger website just a couple days ago before this announcement even came out, and I actually thought they were always part of the foundation, because I saw them on the website for quite some time now. So I guess they just came out with this announcement, so that's awesome. They're alongside companies such as Ripple, Hedera, Quant, Casper, and more. And remember back in 2020 when we were talking about the XRP Ledger Foundation, Ripple, and Energy Web announcing the world's first decarbonized blockchain. And Energy Web actually partnered with the XRPL Foundation. And we can see right here, Zug, Switzerland, just like Casper. So Energy Web, a nonprofit building open source tech solutions for energy systems. And Energy Web will contribute towards enterprise interoperability on Web3 solutions via Hyperledger Firefly. And looking at Energy Web on Kraken, so this is EWT versus the US dollar on the daily time frame on Kraken, the exchange. When it launched on Kraken initially back in early 2020 as Bitcoin was retracing around the Bitcoin halving in May 2020, it had nice upside, starting as low as 50 cents, and later during the bull run really having an all-time high around, let's just say $25. This double top where these two wicks are, but we can see that we had a crazy illiquidity wick on Kraken where the all-time high for Energy Web hit $50. So starting from 50 cents, 49 cents, all the way up to wicking is basically a 100x move. We can see this $5.90 level, I'm just going to say $5.89. So we're back under that, and that is serving as resistance. We're going to see what Bitcoin does next, but in the future, over the long term, I personally believe that EWT can do great things. And also, as a side note, during the bull run, I think it was on either KuCoin, maybe Binance US, I had a buddy just getting into crypto in early 2021, and when Filecoin started taking off, he actually set a bunch of staggered higher limit sells. Let me go to Filecoin actually. It was around this time frame, spring, early 2021, and this is when Filecoin from the low during the bull run did over a 10x. And what he did, I think he got in at like 30, 40 bucks. Let's just say 40 bucks, like right around this area. And he set 2 to 3 staggered sells just for fun at higher levels. So I think he did set a sell maybe at like 100 bucks. And then he put the rest at like 200 up here. Now, there is some exchange where I swear Filecoin went a lot higher than $200. This is Kraken. But basically, he had a limit sell, let's just say at like 300 or 400, something super crazy. And when a big whale or even a participant came to the market and did a big market buy, it was enough to fill his sell order. So he was able to sell much higher than this registered all-time high price. So what was that, like 230 bucks? Let me see Filecoin on some other exchanges just in case. Might have been this one on the right hand side, so we can see that this is Filecoin versus the US dollar on Binance US, and we can see it went as high as, with this crazy wick, at like, let's just say $270, which is pretty crazy. All I remember is he sold most of his Filecoin at a really high price, and it was complete luck. And I always like looking at these initial wicks when projects launch on certain exchanges and there's this huge sell-off, huge distribution phase, and kind of targeting that range to come up and kind of fill that liquidity. And I know HBAR back in the day since 2019 was a great example of that range coming all the way up to that level. And of course, it's pretty realistic for these price points. I'm not talking about certain assets that have to do a 1000x to come and touch this wick, but it is super interesting. And here's a few benefits to open banking that Ripple highlights. We can see broadened revenue streams through new API-enabled products, improved customer personalization and satisfaction via increased touchpoints, and strengthened relevance for financial institutions by diversifying their clients' offerings. And in terms of consumer demand, the Open Banking Report notes that with its 14,000 financial institutions and a growing number of financial technology startups, the US is likely the next frontier of the open banking evolution. I'll believe it when I see it. Right now, a lot of countries are leading the way in terms of regulation. We can see some estimated values of the European mobile wallet market by 2023, 114 billion. We have 4 billion, the number of UK consumer transactions powered by open banking in 2020. And 50% portion of the United Kingdom in small medium businesses that are using some kind of open banking solution. Now, in terms of APIs, application programming interfaces, I go to api3.org, I go to participate, and then go to Open Bank Project, the OPB. And I pay a lot of attention to API3. I know they're still in the building phase and they're relatively new, but we can see the Open Bank Project provides developers in the Web3 space with access to over 400 standardized open banking APIs. Learn more about the Open Bank Project, and we can see partnered with API3. And on openbankproject.com, we can see right now 500 APIs and 11,000 developers. And similar to different standards like, ISO for messaging, we can see the Open Bank Project is the global standard and open source API solution for open banking. We can see regional standards and frameworks such as the UK Open Banking. Next up, Wrath Economy, an absolute must follow in the XRP community. We have Identity right here. Here, Identity's patent to use RippleNet for financial information is shown in an October investor presentation. The patent from 2015 is periodically rediscovered on Twitter. Notice it was approved last year in the United States and this year in Singapore. So we can see right here this patent, a globally connected ecosystem for tokenized payments information. We have accessible via enterprise blockchain, which is going to be huge. We have compatible with legacy networks, Swift and ACH, and right here, new networks such as RippleNet and MasterCard. And of course, we had MasterCard speaking at Swell, and also MasterCard is a well-known Ripple partner. So we have Singapore granted right here, and also the USPTO, the United States, 2021. Now, Identity is actually based in Australia, making it easier for information to move around the global financial system. Founded to bridge the gap between increasing demand from regulators and customers for more information on financial transactions. Because the legacy technology systems make it incredibly difficult to identify and share that information. There's a lot of countries on different types of standards, it's unorganized, it's not backed up, there's no trust, it takes time to share this info. And with anything built on DLT in the future, it's going to be automated. You can have public or even more so private versions of this, so certain people that need to know will have access to this sensitive information. So anyways, just another example of RippleNet mentioned in a patent. And quick reminder, let me just click this so you guys can read it yourselves. Swift has a 6% failure rate, financial messages for payments. And in quotes, imagine if 6 out of every 100 searches you type into Google failed. Imagine if 6 out of every 100 emails or text messages didn't go through. That is the case for international payments today. Now, even if we get the 6% rate down to 4%, down to 2%, it is still unacceptable when we have technology that can automate and guarantee all of this. And Swift, in my opinion, is still super centralized. It's a bank-owned utility that runs a secure electronic platform for sending a variety of financial messages between its 11,000 plus members. And per Pareto's law, the 80-20 principle still rings true because the biggest banks, the top 20%, arguably even less, control over 80% of the payments, of the money, of the messaging, of the payments, even via the correspondent banking network. And with RippleNet or even leveraging XRP, the XRP ledger has no counterparty risk. And for any Bitcoin maxi that does not even do any research whatsoever, you cannot reverse transactions on the XRP ledger. The XRP ledger has been around for over 10 years. It has never had any downtime. There are dozens of banks and even central banks that have trialed XRP, including the Russian central bank. That's not a small bank. Now, in my opinion, all of these huge companies someday, when they begin to use different networks or the XRP ledger or Hedera's Hashgraph or Algorand or Casper in the future, I do not believe they're just going to use one single blockchain or network, because that is risky. If you have some of your biggest apps on some of these networks and they go down, you need to have redundancy or a backup plan, or at least interoperability with other chains. So I'm not a maximalist. I do not just hold XRP. Yes, XRP is one of my biggest holdings. I believe in it massively. But I hold a variety of projects, and I really just try to stick to what I know, holding the most in maybe 4 to 6, something that I can manage and keep up with daily news. So I think the future will be multi-chain. There's going to be a variety of use cases. This market is so big. Tokenizing assets, any type of transaction, is incredibly huge. Over the next 5 to 10 years, there will be use cases created that we never thought possible. Also, we have Sum Wallet. This is XUMM, one of my favorite XRP wallets, completely free to use. They recently launched the Sum on-ramp and off-ramp between fiat and XRP in the Netherlands. They will also soon add the United Kingdom and France. We will add more countries over time to the native Sum on-ramp off-ramp. So this is a great example of lowering the barriers to entry. It has to be easier to store crypto and secure it. We have to make it easier to send and receive. We have to make it easier to create a wallet. We have to make it easier to buy and sell. So slowly but surely. Now we have this Payments Canada report, and they have highlighted high value payments, low value payments, and a variety of reports before. Remember that XRP has been trialed by several Canadian banks and partnered with some of them, and we can see Roth highlighting Payments Canada noted using Ripple's blockchain-based solution for cross-border payments in its report 2022. CIBC, one of the largest providers of cross-border payments in Canada, announced they would partner with Ripple and leverage Ripple's blockchain-based solution for cross-border payments. And I'll just go to the report so you can see it yourselves. So this is actually on page 44 if you're curious. And the title of this, if you just want to read it, is Rebound and Grow, Canadian Payment Methods and Trends Report 2022. And this is the Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce. And converting 837 billion Canadian dollars to US dollars, that's over 611 billion US dollars. Massive. And imagine if a variety of these central banks in the future, after regulatory clarity or even sooner than later, begin holding crypto assets on their balance sheet, even if it's 2%, if it's 10%, 20%. Either way, we need regulatory clarity. We need actual frameworks so that these financial institutions and banks are more comfortable entering this market. So once again, this is a great thing for long term. CIBC, one of the largest providers of cross-border payments in Canada, using Ripple. And I love this speech by Greg here. Are you willing to sprint when the distance is unknown? And last but not least, we have iTrustCapital linked in the top of this YouTube video description. This is a free 401k and crypto IRA platform. You don't have to use my link, but if you do, when you fund your account, you also get a $100 funding reward. We can see that contribution limits have increased by record amounts. The IRS, one of my least favorite groups in the world, increases retirement account contribution limits by record amount for 2023. Remember that you can have a 401k, a TSP, a 403b, 457, a traditional IRA, or what I also have is a Roth IRA because it is tax-free. So 0% capital gains for crypto, and I can even hold the US dollar in terms of volatility. I don't have to risk holding a stablecoin. And I'm able to trade 24/7, 365 right from my phone. We can see pricing, $0 per month, just a 1% transaction fee for anything you buy or sell. We also have precious metals. If you enjoyed this video, I'd greatly appreciate hitting the like button and subscribing. Let me know your thoughts down below. And as always, my link tree is linked right in the top of this YouTube video description with all links, crypto resources, and discounts. I'll catch you in the next one.